Good day, everyone. I am the Computer God. Today, I'm just going to talk about overclocking and the merits of it, pros and cons. Well, let us just say that the pros are that you can get a little bit extra speed out of your computer. Really, that's the only benefits to it, overclocking, because there's a ton of cons. Okay? Basically, the worst thing for your computer is overheating. That's one. Well, literally, I've actually seen computers melt. I'll grant you, there's a lot of safety features in the newer computers, so it just shuts down. I actually sold the computer to one person, and in an office, and basically every morning around the same time his computer would crash. He had a big window and the sun hit the computer head on. It raised the temperature and it crashed because of that every morning. So heat is a bad thing for the computer. It crashed, your system will crash in mostly inopportune moments. Another con is that it will reduce the lifespan of your computer. You're pushing something beyond its limits. So you're going to stress the system a little bit more. And it's going to beyond what it was designed to do. And that will cause any minute flaws in it to break down much faster. So if you want your computer that you spent a lot of good money on to last more than 2 or 3 years, overclocking is not a good thing. But if you are going to overclock the system just for a tiny little bit of extra speed, which in most cases is not noticeable unless you spend a major amount of money in cooling systems. In that case, you might as well just buy a new computer. You can spend so much money cooling your system to get a few extra little speed out of it, when you can spend the same amount of money in just buying a new computer or buying a couple of parts on it to improve on it. My opinion. I've done both. I've upgraded the systems, video cards, memory, a lot of different things. And I've actually overclocked my system. Have not done any serious damage with it. Though, well, I'm getting a lot of hiccups right now, so I put it down back to a normal speed and stuff like that. It stopped the hiccups. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to say that I've cut my lifespan of my computer in half. Instead of 5, 6, 8, 10 years my computer working, which is a long time for a computer, it's gone down to about 2 or 3 years. So unless you're planning on upgrading your computer every 2 or 3 years, overclocking is not quite recommended. And if you do something wrong, well, most systems right now, if you overclock them too far, the system will shut down immediately. Safety features. But again, it stresses the system. You're cutting down the lifespan of your computer. But if you're going to do it, get the best cooling systems for your computer. I would recommend a good liquid cooled system for that. Okay, and not only that, you can actually buy heat sinks for the chips on your motherboard, because you can just overclock your CPU, or you can overclock your whole motherboard and your CPU. I've done both. So you can actually buy heat sinks for individual chips on your motherboard. The South Bridge and the North Bridge, mainly. And you can overclock it and you get a little bit extra speed out of it. But, again, quality parts. You can't go cheap in this respect. You've got to go for the highest quality. Get a good liquid cooled system. Well, if you're only going to overclock it only by a few percentage points, probably just going cheap liquid cool is okay. But if you want to max out your system, again, the more you pay, the better you get. And as an example, my son, he's been having some issues with heat on his computer. He has an AMD 8350 CPU, and those are known to run very hot. And the only problem is on the heat sink and fan is a lot of extra dust. We've cleaned it off, fixed it. Eventually, we just went for the heat sink on that, and running beautifully right now without even overclocking. We haven't even gotten that. He hasn't done that yet. But yeah, and I've actually heard of systems where they actually put a refrigerating unit on the actual case, so it refrigerates the inside of the computer to run as cold as possible. So you can actually overclock it 20-30%. But then you're talking about hundreds of dollars. Well, even a good liquid cooled system still going to cost you a couple of $100. And putting a refrigerating unit on it is going to cost you, a few hundred more. For $400 or $500, I could buy a good video card that will up my speed for my games tremendously, or add faster memory, or do both, which will give you probably the video card for games will give you much better speed. Upgrading that, a new video card comes out every few months, 6 months max. So yeah, doing that way you can probably get better results. And I know the results I put on for how good memory, is it worth it? No. But if you're talking about getting the best speed out of your system, that will increase your overall system performance by 5 or 6%, which in most cases, that's all you're going to get in overclocking. Only a few percentage points before the system starts shutting down because of heat problems. Unless you get a good liquid cooled system. And even then, you are limited to what you can do. That, in my opinion, because I've done both. Save your money and just buy new parts when they come and upgrade that way. Yes, you can overclock it, but I wouldn't go extraordinarily that way. Get a liquid cooled system for the CPU, and overclock it 5, maybe 10%. That's pushing it, in my opinion. But if you have and put extra fans in your system. I've heard of people putting like 10, 12 fans in their system to get the really good of it. But again, money wise, and in my opinion, putting a few extra fans, great. Going that route, it's not going to do that much better. But then this is your system, how you want it. Putting extra fans in will actually cause a lot more noise in the system. How loud do you want it, your system to go? Well, when people were doing it with their cars, and that was a big thing and stuff like that, supercharging their cars and stuff like that, they wanted it to sound fast and powerful. I can see that. That was not me. I don't care if my system sounds great. I just want it to be good and top of the line. Well, that's all I'm going to say. Thank you. See you. Bye.